Today I'm breaking down the swing of Kai Trump, yes, the granddaughter of the current president Donald Trump. I analyzed Donald's swing a while back, and since Kai made headlines after competing in her first LPGA event, I figured why not? Let's dive into her cause and effect and see what's really going on in that motion. And before we jump in, I want to thank you for supporting this channel. Every chance we get, a portion of profits from this channel and my academies across Southern California goes straight to the Heal the Hood Foundation, where they're currently building a non-profit golf academy in Cape Flat, South Africa, to help kids get introduced to this game who cannot afford it. I know my videos are not for everyone, but hey, it's free. You get what you pay for. Let's roll. Let me just say something about this swing. It is a phenomenal swing. Now, I know she probably has access to the best instruction, obviously the best golf course conditions, all things considered. To be fair to her, it still takes a lot of talent, a lot of dedication, a lot of time to get the swing going, and whoever took care of her really made a solid swing. So we're going to look at some cause and effects today, really good motions, and we're going to break this down into left and right. We're going to try and put them together to make this make sense to you, but let's start from the setup to see how things work from that point. So what I love about this setup, and this is what I preach to many people, you watch LPGA. Most guys and girls out there right now, specifically my guys watching this, you guys are in your 50s, your 60s, don't look at the PGA Tour players, look at the LPGA Tour players, look at this left side of the screen, look at how her spine angle goes right through her hands. Now this will create a slight forward press. We can see this angle here. We're going to leave this green line right there, and it's this area right here we're looking at. Now typically amateurs would have to move their center point over to that to make up for it, but then because you started with a forward press, now all of a sudden you run into some room and you stand up, you flip, you get the chicken wing coming for dinner. But this is what separates them. They work the other way, and we'll see that cause and effect. I measure from the heels up to the sky, and we can see that is definitely wider than her shoulders, so she has a lot of stability, ready to utilize the ground forces down below. Right side of the screen, we're going to look at arches of the heels straight up to the sky, and we can see this is slightly toe based, so some of this weight is on the toes. Now this could affect some things as she takes it back. So let's look at this first move back, and we can see that the hands will trail up that lower plane line pretty good till about that midway point, then they start to go up, and that's okay. We see the club face is pretty close to that spine angle, and she's doing this with a neutral to maybe a tad bit strong grip, so we have to look at the way she cups her bows at the top. But watch from this point on. So toe base swingers, when we start to get that secondary plane line, you might start to move into the golf ball. So we're going to take a little circle. Let's put this in Barney circle there, and we're going to see the head will pivot down. Now this is either caused by that toe setup, and because we have more weight on the toes, as we turn, our weight will fall to our toes, but this is what makes her swing work from this point on. So without that little motion forward, the swing might not even work because everything is built upon each other. We get to that secondary plane line on the right side of the screen a little bit higher. That's just because we lost a little bit of shoulder tilt, so you can see the shoulder tilt at the top has slightly come out of her posture, but it's okay to come out of your posture a little bit more for the driver because we want to get a little bit flatter sooner. And for those of you who don't know what flat is, it's shallow. On the left side of the screen, what I love, really love about this lady's swing is the lack of wrist hinge. Now this is perfect in my eyes because that club is now more out in front of your body in relative terms. I've seen a lot of amateurs, watch the red line, I've seen a lot of amateurs get over here. Now take a look at all this they have to make up down to impact. That's a pretty big angle that you have to utilize down to impact. Now that usually comes from your hands having to throw back out in front, and that's where we get the stall of the rotation. We stand up because our hands have to throw sooner to create the room, and that's where you know who comes to dinner. And this is Steve Stricker-esque. So if you haven't watched my Steve Stricker analysis, go check that out, because I think hybrid of this and a hybrid of Steve, that's a pretty good swing you want to try to emulate. Now obviously I'm not a fan of emulating this, so I'm a little bit contradicting myself, but if you need to look at somebody, go look at those two. But now this is where the money happens. Watch the wrist. We have a slight bowed wrist at the top. As we come on down, look how the wrists start to bow down. So now all of a sudden we have a pretty big bowed wrist. Now this will definitely help you shallow that club from high hands while she is going down and rotating. Now not only that, but watch the weighting. Because she was toe based at the setup, watch her left toe from this right side of the screen. Left toe is going to press into the ground, right? So the left toe presses in, we squat down. Now she pushes from that left toe back to the heel, and you'll see that happen right there. So that's where all that whipping action comes in. But look at the wrist. It's still bowed. Club is below that plane line, which now we know she's swinging up. Now from this point on the right side of the screen, watch the shoulders. The shoulders are going to now tilt more and turn a lot to get that club. So the club needs to work this way, if you think about that, while the hands work this way. So the only way to get the club over to that side is either throw the hands or whoop, turn your body. So watch the body. Bam, look at the body. The body will turn open to get that club over. Now her hands can just release naturally because look how much tilt she has. We got to do a tilt check after this. And then she comes on through secondary plane nine. Beautiful. But look at the difference in her spine angle. Bam, there's her new spine angle. So old spine angle, new spine angle. Now this takes a certain body style. So from all my 70-year-olds watching, don't bother. Now, left side of the screen, we're going to see how we utilize that center point. So remember this forward press, we're going to expect her, we're going to do this in Barney Purple, to shift her spine back. So that's going to be her goal of her center point because she's trying to compensate her forward press. Come on through and watch this. Boom, there's that center miss shifting back. Now what this does, pair this with the tilting and the rotation, is it gets her hands way out in front. Look at this forward press that she's able to get from a very little wrist hinge. So there you go. You don't need wrist hinge to get forward press. You need perfect motions with the body to help the path of your hands get that forward press. Now, we're going to delete some of these lines and we're going to draw a couple extra lines here. Let's go in Smirkleton. There's the shoulder tilt. The hands will just follow the shoulder tilt, ensuring the hands are swinging up through impact. So look at this. And she stays connected all the way to here. This is an incredibly connected swing. Is that even a way to use that? This is an incredible way to connect your swing. I think that's a better way. And we come on through. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty impressive. But let's take a look real quick. Let's do a quick shoulder tilt test. I'm just curious to see how much we tilt our shoulders. So there's the top. We're at 19. And there's, oh my goodness, 19 to 73. Wow. What is that? 54 degrees of tilting? Guys, don't bother. Ladies, maybe. But I hope that helps you understand a little bit about her swing and why it's so unique. And your swing is just as unique. So don't bother trying to chase secrets. Don't bother clicking thumbnails. I promise you this and that. I'm just trying to teach you to recognize cause and effect so you can look at your own swing. If you do need yours analyzed, submit the form down below. It's somewhere there. Other than that, I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Fairways and greens.